He used me. I took everything. My name is Alan Carter. I'm 34, a software engineer in San Francisco. I've always been precise, dedicated, focused, understated. Everything I built stood firm, until those I trusted tore it down. From that moment, I stopped waiting for justice and started creating it. The San Francisco office of Nexus Labs buzzed with energy, my desk cluttered with code printouts, and a chipped coffee mug from my college days. At 34, I'd poured 2 years into this startup as a software engineer, my algorithms the backbone of our app. Nathan, my friend and CEO, would lean over my monitor, his grin wide, tossing ideas for new features. "Alan, you're the genius here," he'd say, his voice warm. My partner, Emma, texted from home, proud of our late-night breakthroughs, her photo taped beside my keyboard. We were a team. Nathan's vision, my code, building something big. This is our future, I thought, my fingers dancing across keys. The city's hum alive outside. I didn't see the cracks forming. Nathan and I shared late nights debugging code over pizza, his laugh echoing as we celebrated user growth. "You're the heart of this, Alan," he'd say, and I'd nod, my loyalty as solid as my scripts. My team respected me, their commits polished by my reviews, their trust earned through countless fixes. I'd call Emma, her voice bright, sharing our latest milestone, her pride fueling mine. The office thrummed, my algorithms driving downloads, Nathan's praise a constant. I saw myself here long-term, maybe a CTO, with Nathan's vision leading us. "You're building something real," I told myself, my mug warm, its chip a reminder of our scrappy start. Nathan's tone shifted one morning, his eyes on his phone during our sprint meeting. "Good work, Alan, but let's tweak the back end," he said, vague, brushing off my detailed plan. I chalked it up to stress, my focus on optimizing code. But his distance grew, fewer high fives, more closed door calls. Colleagues whispered about new investors, their glances odd. I kept coding, my algorithms tight, my team steady. But unease crept in. Something's off, I thought, my fingers brushing Emma's photo, her smile a quiet anchor. I didn't push Nathan. I stayed calm, my engineer's mind logging his evasions, his pauses, like bugs in a system I couldn't yet debug. They were rewriting my role without me. The unease settled, a quiet weight beneath my routine. I didn't confront Nathan or demand answers. I sat at my desk, my mug's chip glinting, and thought of Emma, her trust in my work, and the years I'd poured into Nexus Labs, every line of code, every late night, every nod from Nathan. "They think you're locked in," I told myself, my screen glowing with clean code, the office's hum a soft pulse. But my mind, trained to solve problems, cataloged Nathan's shifts, his clipped words, his closed doors. I didn't argue. I watched, my silence a shield, my loyalty a weight I still carried. "You trusted him," I thought, my keyboard still. "You were wrong." I stood by my desk, San Francisco's skyline sharp through the window, and felt the first fracture, in the dream we'd built. Nathan's vague dismissals, the team's whispers, were threads unraveling my place. I didn't move or speak. I cataloged every moment, every slight, my mind already tracing a response I couldn't yet name. They don't see it yet, I thought, my reflection steady in the glass. But they will. The office lights dimmed, and I knew my next move waited, silent and precise, in the stillness I'd always kept. The low hum of my monitor filled the Nexus Labs office, my chipped coffee mug resting beside Emma's photo on my cluttered desk. Nathan, my friend and CEO, still tossed feature ideas my way, but his grin felt forced, his eyes often on his phone. My algorithms powered our startup's app, its growth a testament to my code. I'd catch him in the break room, joking about our early days, and I'd nod, my screen alive with clean scripts. Emma texted, proud of our rising downloads, her trust steady. I kept debugging, my team leaning on my fixes. This is our dream, I thought, My fingers steady, San Francisco's pulse alive outside. Something was shifting beneath the surface. Nathan's distance grew sharper. At a sprint meeting, he praised a new feature, my code, calling it a team win, his glance skipping me. "Great vision, Nate," a colleague said, my work erased. I kept my face calm, my tie neat, but my engineer's mind, wired for patterns, logged his omission. Colleagues began deferring to him, their commits bypassing my reviews. I brushed it off, focusing on a new algorithm, but unease settled. "He's pulling away," I told myself, my fingers brushing Emma's photo, her smile a quiet anchor. I thought of our late-night coding, his promises of partnership. They thought I wouldn't see the shift. The office felt colder. Nathan's closed-door calls multiplied, his laughter gone when I passed by. I overheard a teammate whisper, "Nathan's the visionary. Alan's just the coder." The sting was quiet, a slow burn in my chest. I kept working, my code tight, saving a crashing feature, but the team's nods went to Nathan. At a demo, he presented my back-end work as his new direction, my role unmentioned. I smiled, my tie crisp, but doubt deepened. "They're sidelining you," I thought. My screen, glowing, the office's hum, a faint pulse. I didn't challenge him. I cataloged every slight, his stolen credit, their whispers, like bugs in a system I'd yet to debug. I sat at my desk, my mug's chip catching the light, and let the unease settle. Nathan's credit-taking wasn't just oversight, it was a choice, a fracture in the trust I'd built. I thought of Emma, her belief in my work and the years I'd poured into Nexus Labs. Every line of code, every fix. I didn't confront Nathan or demand credit. My mind, trained to solve problems, saw his actions as a pattern. His ambition, their blind loyalty. "They think you're just a piece," I thought, my reflection steady and my monitor's glow. "You're the foundation." I needed only my skills, my patience, and the quiet ledger of his slights growing heavier each day. The office hum softened, and I knew my response waited, precise and unspoken, in the silence I'd always held. The morning light slanted across my desk at Nexus Labs, my chipped coffee mug cool beside Emma's photo, its frame steady on the cluttered surface. Nathan, my friend and CEO, had grown distant, but I trusted our bond, my code the backbone of our San Francisco startup. I'd spent 2 years building its app, my algorithms driving its rise. That morning, Nathan called me to his office, his smile gone, his hands fidgeting with a pen. "Alan, we're restructuring," he said, voice flat. "You're redundant." The words hit like a silent blade, slicing through years of loyalty. I sat, my tie neat, my face composed, the office's heavy. "He erased you," I thought, my pulse calm but raw. My work was discarded in seconds. I didn't flinch. "After everything?" I asked, my tone even, searching for the Nathan who'd called me his genius. He shrugged, eyes on his desk. "It's business," he said. The phrase a cold dismissal of our late-night coding, our shared wins. Colleagues waited outside, their whispers faint, already turning from me. I thought of Emma, her trust in my work, and the years I'd poured into Nexus Labs. I stood, my nod curt, and left, my steps measured, his betrayal a weight sinking deep. "He chose himself over you," I told myself, passing my desk, Emma's photo a quiet sting. They thought I'd break without a fight. The office felt alien as I returned to my station, my mug untouched, my screen dark. Colleagues I'd mentored avoided my gaze, their chatter now about Nathan's new phase. I overheard one say, "Alan's out. Nathan's got this." The sting was sharp, a second wound atop Nathan's cut. I didn't argue or lash out. My engineer's mind, trained to debug systems, cataloged every detail. His flat tone, their shifting loyalty, like errors in a codebase I hadn't yet fixed. I thought of Emma, her pride in my code, and the startup I'd built. "They think you're done," I told myself, my pen still, the office's buzz fading. I paused by my desk, San Francisco's skyline stark through the window, and let the betrayal settle, a deep fracture beneath my calm. Nathan's "it's business" echoed, each word a dismissal of my years. Every algorithm, every fix, every nod from him. I didn't call Emma or confront Nathan. My mind, honed for solutions, saw their flaws, his ambition, their blind allegiance as leverage. They think you're broken, I thought. My reflection steady in the monitor's glow. You're not. I needed only my skills, my patience, and the silent vow forming, a promise to turn his rejection into my strength. The office lights dimmed, and I knew my next move waited, calculated and quiet in the stillness I'd always held. The silence of my San Francisco apartment wrapped around me, my chipped coffee mug cold beside Emma's photo on my cluttered kitchen table. Nathan's firing, dismissing me as redundant after 2 years coding Nexus Labs app, cut deeper than I'd expected. His words, "it's business," echoed, erasing my role in our startup's rise. I kept up appearances, taking freelance coding gigs, my scripts sharp for clients. Colleagues' texts slowed. "Tough break, Alan." Their invites now went to Nathan, their praise tied to his vision. I didn't call them out. My tie stayed crisp, my face calm, the city's hum soft outside. They've turned from you, I thought, my breath even but heavy. My world cracked and they didn't care. The isolation deepened. At a tech meetup, I saw colleagues I'd trained applaud Nathan's vague pitches, my name absent. "He's the future," one whispered, their eyes skipping me. I stood by the bar, my drink untouched, my smile tight, the sting a quiet fracture splitting wider. I thought of Emma, her faith in my code, and the years I'd built Nexus Labs' core. I didn't argue or chase their loyalty. My engineers, mind wired for patterns, logged their dismissal, Nathan's spotlight their allegiance, like bugs in a system I hadn't yet fixed. "They're blind to you now," I told myself, my fingers brushing Emma's photo, its frame a steady weight. They didn't know I was still building. Nights grew heavier. Alone, I coded freelance projects, my expertise keeping me afloat, my apartment a shield of silence. Nathan's LinkedIn posts boasting about Nexus Labs' new era erased my contributions. Colleagues shared his updates, their silence a second betrayal. I didn't reach out or rage. I thought of Emma, her pride in my work, and the years I'd poured into Nexus Labs, every algorithm, every late night. "They've written you off," I told myself, my pen idle, the apartment's quiet hum a fortress. I cataloged every slight, his unearned praise, their disloyalty, like lines in a codebase I was starting to debug. I stood by my kitchen counter, San Francisco's lights dim through the blinds, and let the pain settle, a deep ache carving space for something new. Nathan's betrayal, his colleagues' abandonment wasn't just loss, it was clarity. I didn't call Emma, not wanting to dim her trust. My mind, honed for solutions, saw their flaws, his ambition, their blind faith in him as leverage. "They think you're broken," I thought, my reflection steady in the window's glass. "You're not." I needed only my skills, my patience, and the silent plan forming, a vow to turn their rejection into my strength. The city's pulse steadied, and I knew my next move waited, precise and quiet, in the stillness I'd always held. The faint glow of my laptop screen lit my San Francisco study, my chipped coffee mug resting beside Emma's photo on a cluttered desk. Nathan's firing, dismissing me as redundant after 2 years coding Nexus Labs app, burned, but I didn't break. His cold, "it's business," fueled my resolve. I took freelance coding gigs, my scripts sharp, keeping me steady. My mind, honed to debug complex systems, targeted Nexus Labs' weaknesses, Nathan's shaky leadership, his bloated updates. I didn't confront him or boast. I sat, my tie loose, sketching a comeback, my notes mapping their flaws. He discarded you, I thought, my pulse even, the city's hum a quiet rhythm outside. I was crafting a plan they couldn't foresee. I dug into Nexus Labs' cracks. User reviews showed bugs in Nathan's rushed updates, retention dropping, issues I'd once fixed. Using a burner email, I sent tips to tech blogs hinting at mismanagement without leaving my name. I built a lean app prototype for Arrival, its code tighter, my reputation growing. "Alan, your code's a game changer," a client said, unaware of my aim. My engineer's mind logged every detail, Nathan's errors, his team's blind loyalty, like bugs in a system I was debugging. They're vulnerable, I told myself, my pen tracing Arrival's specs, Emma's photo a steady anchor. They didn't sense the tide turning. My strategy sharpened. I met investors in quiet cafes, my pitches crisp, my savings funneled into a small fund. Blogs buzzed with Nexus Labs and stumbles, my tips stirring doubt. Nathan's LinkedIn posts grew defensive, his updates sparse, but he didn't suspect me. At a tech mixer I saw him, his smile strained, pitching to bored investors. I lingered in the background, my tie neat, unseen. My prototype gained traction, a rival startup signing on, my name whispered in San Francisco's tech scene. I didn't gloat or show my hand. They're slipping, I thought, my notebook heavy with plans, my studies silence a fortress. I stood by my desk, San Francisco's lights soft through the curtains, and felt Nathan's betrayal harden into purpose. I thought of Emma, her trust in my craft, and the years I'd poured into Nexus Labs, every algorithm, every late night. I didn't need Nathan's regret or his team's fear. My mind, trained to solve systems, saw their flaws, his arrogance, their blind faith as my leverage. They think you're gone, I thought, my reflection steady in the laptop's glow. You're rising. I needed only my expertise, my patience, and the silent blueprint unfolding. A plan to outshine their startup, not with anger, but with the precision of code I'd mastered. The city's hum steadied, and I knew my next move waited, calculated, and quiet. The faint scratch of my pen on paper broke the quiet of my San Francisco study, my chipped coffee mug steady beside Emma's photo on a worn desk. Nathan's dismissal, firing me as redundant after 2 years coding Nexus Labs app, had lit a fire I channeled into action. My rival app, built in silence, was gaining users, its clean code outpacing Nathan's bloated updates. My mind, sharpened by years of debugging systems, targeted his startup's flaws, his weak leadership, his failing features. I didn't confront him or gloat. I worked, my tie loose, my notes mapping their unraveling. He erased you, I thought, my pulse calm, the city's rhythm a faint pulse outside. I struck first and they didn't see. My move was calculated. Using a burner email, I leaked Nathan's app crashes to tech blogs, linking them to his vision without leaving my name. The post spread, users jumping to my app. My prototype pitched to a rival startup, Apex Tech, secured a major deal, siphoning Nexus Labs clients. "Alan, your app's a disruptor," an Apex exec said, blind to my target. My engineers, mine cataloged their weaknesses. Nathan's errors, his team's blind faith like bugs in a codebase I'd cracked. They're losing ground, I told myself. My pen tracing a user growth chart, Emma's photo a quiet anchor. They felt the tremor, but not its source. My plan gained momentum. I met investors in quiet diners, my pitches sharp, my fund growing as I eroded Nexus Labs' credibility. Blogs buzzed with their mismanagement, my tips fueling the fire. Nathan's LinkedIn posts turned frantic, his updates defensive, but he didn't trace me. At a tech conference, I saw him, his grin forced, pitching to skeptical investors. I stood in the crowd, my tie crisp, unnoticed. Apex Tech's app, powered by my code, outshone Nexus Labs. My name whispered in San Francisco's tech circles. I didn't boast or reveal my hand. They're crumbling, I thought, my notebook dense with plans, my studies silence a stronghold. I stood by my desk, San Francisco's evening glow filtering through the blinds, and felt Nathan's betrayal, harden into clarity. I thought of Emma, her trust in my work, and the years I'd given Nexus Labs, every algorithm, every late night. I didn't need Nathan's regret or his team's panic. My mind, built to fix systems, turned their flaws, his arrogance, their loyalty to him, into my advantage. They think you're gone, I thought, my reflection steady in the monitors. Light. You're rising. I needed only my expertise, my patience, and the silent campaign unfolding. A plan to bury their startup, not with rage, but with the precision of code I'd mastered. The city's hum quickened, and I knew my next move. Waited, poised to shift everything. The steady click of my mouse filled my San Francisco office, my chipped coffee mug resting beside Emma's photo on a polished desk. Nathan's firing, dismissing me as redundant after 2 years coding Nexus Labs app, had fueled my rise. My rival app, now Apex Tech's flagship, had crushed Nathan's startup, its clean code drawing users nationwide. I didn't confront him or gloat. My anonymous leaks had sparked tech blogs, exposing his mismanagement, and my fund secured. Apex Tech's buyout of Nexus Labs' failing assets. I walked into their boardroom, my tie crisp, and revealed my role as Apex Tech's lead engineer. He erased you, I thought, my voice calm as Nathan's face paled. They didn't expect you to rewrite their end. The moment was precise. Alan Carter, Apex Tech, I said, my tone even as the board stared, Nathan's eyes wide. My app's success, user growth, seamless code, had tanked Nexus Labs' valuation, my leaks exposing their losses. We're acquiring your assets, I stated, my plan unfolding. Apex Tech systems, my systems, would lead. Nathan muttered, Alan, you did this? I nodded, my gaze steady. Business, I said, echoing his dismissal. Colleagues who'd backed him shifted, their loyalty broken. I thought of Emma, her pride in me, and the years I'd given Nexus Labs. They're falling now, I told myself, my pen still, the boardroom's silence heavy. They thought I'd fade. They were wrong. Nexus Labs. Collapse spread. Blogs lit up with Apex Tech's takeover, my name tied to their rise, Nathan's vision a fading echo. My leaks, his buggy updates, his weak leadership, drove users to my app. I didn't fire him. I let him stay, his role small, his confidence gone. Colleagues who'd ignored me called, Didn't see this, Alan. I replied curtly, my focus, on reshaping Nexus Labs' chaos, my code restoring order. I saw Nathan at a meeting, his voice weak, his eyes avoiding mine. He sees you now, I thought. My tie neat, my face calm. Emma's photo a steady anchor. I stood by my office window, San Francisco's skyline sharp in the evening light, and felt Nathan's betrayal dissolve into clarity. I thought of Emma, her trust in my work, and the years I'd poured into Nexus Labs. Every algorithm, every late night. I didn't need Nathan's regret or his team's shame. My mind, honed to debug systems, had turned their flaws, his arrogance, their blind faith, into my leverage. They thought you were nothing, I thought, my reflection steady in the glass. You're everything. My justice was quiet, a codebase executed flawlessly, my legacy no longer his to erase. The city's hum softened, and I knew the final step waited, a calm reflection of the path I'd reclaimed. The soft glow of my monitor lit my new San Francisco office at Apex Tech, my chipped coffee mug steady beside Emma's photo on a sleek desk. Nathan's firing, dismissing me as redundant after 2 years coding Nexus Labs app, had forged my triumph. My app, now Apex Tech's core, had rebuilt Nexus Labs' ruins, its clean code dominating the market. Nathan's name faded, his vision irrelevant, his role a shadow. I didn't gloat or seek his regret. I led, my tie crisp, my team thriving, my algorithms reshaping San Francisco's tech scene. He discarded you, I thought, my voice calm, the office's hum a testament to my rise. I rebuilt what he tried to destroy. Apex Tech's success echoed. Tech summits buzzed with my name, colleagues who'd backed Nathan now seeking my advice. Alan, you turned it around. I smiled, my replies brief, my focus on new features. Nathan appeared at a conference, his confidence gone, his eyes dodging mine as he lingered on the edges. I thought of Emma, her pride at my latest milestone and the years I'd given Nexus Labs. Blogs praised Apex Tech's rise, my app lauded, while Nathan's failures faded. He's irrelevant now, I told myself, my pen resting, my office's light warm and steady. They thought I'd vanish. I rose higher. My days were full. Mentoring a growing team, refining code that outshone Nexus Labs' old chaos. Colleagues who'd snubbed me texted apologies. Didn't see your plan, Alan, I replied shortly, my mind on Apex Tech's growth, my app empowering users. Nathan emailed once, his tone weak. Didn't mean to cut you out. I left it. Unanswered, his words meaningless. I called Emma, my voice even, sharing Apex Tech's latest win. Her pride a warmth no betrayal could dim. He sees your path now, I thought. My tie neat, my face calm, my desk a map of quiet victories. I stood by my office window, San Francisco's evening lights glinting, and let the journey settle. Nathan's dismissal, his colleagues' disloyalty. My isolation turned to strength. His betrayal had been a fracture, but my plan, patient, precise, had rebuilt me. Not for revenge, but for purpose. I didn't need his shame or their awe. My mind, honed to debug systems, had turned their flaws, his arrogance, their blind faith, into my foundation. They thought you were nothing, I thought, my hand steady on my mug. You're everything. My justice was silent, a code base executed perfectly, my legacy etched in Apex Tech's rise. The office's pulse softened, and I found peace, not in his fall, but in the horizon I'd reclaimed.